primary author of it. Just getting back to cutting taxes versus increasing taxes, eliminate all of the challenges that we see in the higher bureaucracy.
Not so much about beating Biden, but beating Trump.
You got to do both. If you want to be president, you're two juggernauts. The fact. So the good news is, so far, the more time we get, the better off we are. Frankly, people respond really well to an optimistic, positive message, including conservative. So the truth of the matter is, if you want similar policy successes on the domestic side, but you actually want someone who can persuade the independent voters to join, I'm your guy. So. That's it?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, there you go. That way you just got a shot at these guys. No, by all means, I'm not messing.
Thank you for the tour, though. Certainly, Suite of Business that's been around since 1884 is an unusual opportunity.
Yep.
To be honest with you, so few businesses, as you guys probably know, the first 5 years, 80% of small businesses fail.
Yep.
The next 5 years, 80% of those fails. So 1884 minus 2023, it takes a long time for a business like this to succeed.
Yeah, so we're going for third generation.
Yeah.
Which is really hard to do.
Massively successful.
We got a ways to go yet. The oldest boys are 16.
Yeah, next generation's already working summers out there.
That's good. That's good. That's awesome. Well, thank y'all for taking the time and showing me the facility, frankly, the use of technology. Part of I've got something called Made in America. We're focusing on creating 10 million jobs, and about 40% of those jobs come from high-tech manufacturing. That's why I was asking some of the questions about the future of technology and the impact it can have positively on job creation. So many people are afraid that technology destroys jobs. It actually creates more jobs, and as we were looking at that one piece of equipment, thinking about the number of bodies it would take to do that job, and you multiply that out and think about the quality of the opportunity for those folks who will be doing that job in the future, that equipment will probably save, obviously, tons of time. Some injuries, probably, but improve the quality of life of the folks that are working there. And as we talked about the importance of a value-based proposition, it's not the number of hours you work, but the value you put in those hours, and the multiplier is really helpful.
Well, and competing for those hires within the area, so the quality of work life and things like that for our employees will get them in the door, but then retain them long term, like Mark was saying, some of the flexibility and the actual work tasks that they're performing.
Which is, I think, in the current generation, it seems like people really do want that high quality of life, not just the job with the money. They want to experience life on their terms, and this is a good example of how that can happen.
We are struggling though with the trades.
Yep.
There's the welders, fabricators. It's difficult to find those people.
One of the things that we have the Made in America part of my build, not borrow plan, and a part of that is to re-engage. You might be old enough to remember Shop in high school.
We love Shop. We love Shop. Have you seen our play?
I know you old enough though, so I know I'm old enough. But the fact is that if we went back to having Shop embedded into our education system, but not only there, but making Pell Grants available to, if you have an 18-week course you need to go through in order to become a welder, why not have the Pell Grant available for that program? And so the more focus and emphasis we put on creating jobs, period, and giving kids more alternatives on the tracks that they want to go down, the better off our economy will be, the better off our country will be, and especially if you're here in the area, if you have 2% unemployment, it is tough to find labor. And so the more technology and the more focus you have on trades, that combination is, some would say, unlikely bedfellows, but truth be told, it's perfect. Some people want to use their hands and their head at the exact same time. And watching the geometry of some of the things that you all are making out there, it requires thinking and doing a lot of.
We are seeing at least our local school districts start to recognize the opportunities, and we've been collaborating with them. We developed a weld academy down the street here at the high school in conjunction. So it was the high schools in Story County, the local community college, and a couple of private businesses, including ourselves. So we have 16 students now at our high school getting weld training, and the original instructor came off our shop floor. And I would let him leave for 4 hours in the morning and go down there and teach the class. And now we follow that up with an apprenticeship program where they get their first year down there at the Weld Academy, then they start coming to our shop to work, and then they can go to the community college, and we take them through the whole progression. And last week, the first student became a full-time employee out of that apprenticeship program.
I love that.
And 20 years ago, the local school didn't even want us to come talk about the jobs here, except for the engineering jobs. And they would kind of shun the blue-collar work, and we are seeing that begin to change. And it's really actually a breath of fresh air for us, because the workforce is getting older and older each year and not getting replenished. And it really comes down to this story about how good these jobs are.
Absolutely.
You know, Mike Rowe's out there just hammering this message. The kids aren't getting exposed to it.
Yep.
We're starting to change it.
That's so helpful, man. I should have had you write my economic plan, because what you're talking about, apprenticeships, is a part of the plan. I started working on that in 2015 and said, let's find a way to encourage and attract more folks in the apprenticeship programs. We were going to provide a tax credit for businesses, $1,500 for under 25 and over $25,000. But look for ways to encourage and to incent businesses to develop the workforce of their future by having a kid come in, so to speak, and they're fumbling a little bit longer, so you need to lower the cost for the employer through tax credits, and then long-term focusing back on shop and focusing on community colleges is really important. The other thing I'd say is, as president, we need to do, without any question, is realize that the job opportunity, we always talk about 7 million vacancies around the country. The truth is that every market is different. And so what we need to do is what you talked about doing, is understanding the unique markets, letting the resources flow, but don't have the decision makers in DC. But let me local decision makers, so that you use the resources most effectively as possible. Because in Charleston, where I'm from, we 2001, when I was the economic development chairman, we attracted a VOT partnership with Alina to produce the fuselage for Boeing. So we started at the technical school, an entire wing around aviation. Then at my old high school, they started a program to help create workers for the aviation industry, and that just prospered. And then Boeing came in 7 or 8 years later, and now we're making the entire plane there, because we had success building the workers for the future. But if the government came in and said, this is what we're going to do down there, you guys do a lot of tourism, so we'll teach you all how to eat and feed people, but we're not going to talk about aeronautics. That transformation changed our community, and making sure that those decisions are local decisions and not federal decisions is a really important part of the Made in America and Let's Build Not Borrow plan. You guys know this better than I do, but over the last 25 years, we've lost 100,000 plus factories in America.
That's horrible.
And we can bring those jobs back, because what you proved out there was that the technology will make us more globally competitive. So we can reduce that price up. That's a really cool opportunity for American workers if we bring those jobs home from China and around the world and create high-tech manufacturing locations and factories here in America again. With technology, we can get her done.
Get her done.
Get her done.
That's what we're about.
Yes, I see it. We're getting it done, so that's awesome.
Well, it's a good success story you mentioned too.
I was trying to think. You had like a charter, or you have a list of these are your.
Yes.
What is that?
Tell
us about that.
On the economic side?
Well, no, just it was your values.
The opportunity agenda, or?
I thought it was things that it was like, this is what I'm about.
The mission statement. Yeah. So what we say at least is we have 3 primary areas. One's restoring hope.
Sorry.
I like that. One's restoring hope, one's creating opportunities, and the other one is protecting the America that we all love. And for me, my value proposition as an elected official has been for the last, since I've been in office, very much the cross you see on your wall, frankly, my theory has always been Luke 14:28, count the cost. And that's the whole theory that we hear a lot about. You measure twice, cut once. Well, Luke 4:28 embodies that notion. And for me, I've spent, at least 30 years in business and in politics working on a business and mission plan where we find a way to take basic biblical principles, embed them in what we do. Whether you're a believer like I am or not, the fact of the matter is that those universal truths, they work. So the question is, are you working them? You know, it's like one of the concepts that we work on from an education standpoint is that closest thing to magic, even though we don't believe in magic, but there is something magical about a good education. There's a good education in America, and we find the scriptures and the principles that undergird that kind of success for our society. And we do the same thing with the Proverbs 22:7, the borrower slave to the lender. So understanding those key principles.
I read that one yesterday.
Yes, we have to be reminded sometimes of that. And so when you understand the principles that have governed the flourishing of our society, whether you're a person of faith or whether you're not, those principles work because truth is truth. And we're living in a world where we think that truth is really your experience is my truth, and it's hogwash. There is a truth. And if you understand that there's a universal truth, on that truth you can build an objective standard. And from an objective standard, you can have the rule of law that applies to everybody. Without that, not much works.
Senator, I know folks here wanted to have kind of a private discussion about the press.
Yes.
You guys, is that
Whatever your schedule allocates that.
That's
Okay.
right. Well,
Yeah.
I can take the press out.
Okay. We appreciate you all coming today and seeing this.
And
Thank you.
Before you guys do, you mind just introducing everybody so that way they know who they are?
My name is Mark Smith. I'm the CXO here at Almaco.
I'm Patrick Clem. I'm the CEO of Almaco.
I'm Tim Scott. I'm applying for a job to work for them as President of the United States. Yes.
Nice.
I'm Christian Clem, Patrick's brother, and I'm the Chief Solutions Officer here at Almaco.
Greg Picklap, Ames Chamber of Commerce Director of Government Relations.
Awesome.
Thank you guys very much. We'll see you at Fort Dive Chef Pizza Ranch. Thank you.
Get a picture of this. Rig.
I've been to Charleston several times. Beautiful out there. I was surprised how pretty the beaches are out there too. Yeah.
Super nice. We have one of the top 10 resort beaches in America.
Yeah, it was great. And we visited there and we did sightseeing with Coal Plantation. It was just a ton of history there and stuff.
Magnolias,
Yeah.
Middleton Gardens. We have a lot of very cool places to visit.
Yeah.
And the food is fantastic.
Yeah.
And we have become a food destination.
And tell me a little bit more about your work background. You
Yeah.
mentioned you were
I did.
in-
Yes, I started working like as most people do when you grow up 13 years old at a gas station.
Yeah.
And that was fun. Learned a little bit, and then probably fast forward through high school and college. I started a small business in the insurance industry.
Okay.
Back in '98, and another one, and then the third one.
Was it like property and casualty?
Yep, all state franchises. And then I had started a real estate company from scratch. Started a janitorial cleaning franchise for a while.